All right, so here we are, week 3. We're working on the assignment, which will be to prepare the final composition and a label design. Basically, what it means is we'll finalize the detailed composition of your package design, and we're going to create a custom label as well. But before, and we have tonight and tomorrow night. So more than likely what's going to happen tomorrow night is I'm going to deal with the label design, and we'll probably do a little bit more work on the final composition as well. What I want to do tonight, though, is I want to go over some comments that I left in week 1 for your assignment and week 2 for your assignment. So let me do this. Let me go into Illustrator first. And this is your week 1. This is your submission for week 1. You know, there's a lot of good stuff going on here. I'm not unhappy with it. I like your colors. I like the fact that you chose a bunch of different colors here. I also like the fact that you did a couple of things to pick up a couple of things that added to the ambiance of Wild Bill hot sauce. Unfortunately, you did not outline this type. So as you can see here in red, this is reverted back to this font because I don't have that font that you were using loaded on my computer. Whenever you see that pink over top of type, that's a notice that the font is not displaying properly, and that's because you didn't package this, or you didn't create, package it, and you didn't create outlines on the type, okay? Which is no big deal at this particular point because I was checking a PDF anyway. I just imported this because I wanted to get access to your logo. The bulk of my critique was about your logo. I submitted to you, and let me see if I can actually locate this. This always does this. Let me go over here to week 3. Let's see. It might be this. And it is. Okay. So if you read my critique was that in your logo, let's see if I can get this worked out so that you can have them sort of side by side. Let me make this a little bit smaller. If you take a look at your logo here, I'm trying there it is. So just take a look at your logo. There is your logo. Let me zoom in on it. There we go. And let me get it over here. There we go. One more time. That's good. So there's your logo. This is an example of another logo, competing products logo. So the problem that I had with your logo was that you didn't really take advantage of the opportunities that you had to incorporate color into your logo. And I personally think that an orange background over everything is kind of like a cop-out, or to say the very least, you are certainly not taking advantage of or leveraging all of the colors that you went to so much trouble to get. Look at them all. And some of them are very nice colors, you know? So the bottom line is I'm going to go through a process tonight of coloring your logo because that's one of the things that I would very much like to see you do. And I did actually show how to do this week 1. I'm going to do it again because I want to make sure that I impress upon you how important it is to do this. It really, this is a very weak design. It would not impress anybody. I mean, anybody could do it. Anybody with very little, if any, talent could do this. And really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to impress upon you how important it is to do things that are going to make you look like you're a competent graphic designer. And, you know, again, when somebody gives you the opportunity to design something like this, and part of the design is to work on, you know, designing the actual logo or actual emblem, which is what this is, you know, you should really relish this and should really, you know, go to some extreme to make this thing look good. So that's what I want to start off with. So I'm going to come in here. What I did was I created, oh, and by the way, I just wanted to point out that, oh, no, you did. You got it. Okay. I'm going to go into Fix Logo. All right. I'm going to go into Fix Logo. So here is my logo. There's two things that I want to show you before I actually begin the process of working on the color for this logo. One of the things that I want to show you is here. It's the swatches. Whenever you create a new document, like I did right here, this is what you get. You get a swatch panel that's populated with all these colors. And these colors are kind of meaningless to you. They're not really colors that I would want you to use for any reason, especially when you went to the trouble to get all these great colors here. These are the colors that I would very much like to see you utilize in your design, and those are the colors that we should load into here to work with, okay? So that's the first thing. So there's a very easy way to accomplish this whole thing, and that is that you first go up to this little menu here, this little pancake menu, and you click on it, and you go down to where it says Select All Unused, and it'll select all the unused samples that are in there, and then what you'll do is you'll hit the garbage can, and it'll ask you, do you want me to delete all the swatches? And of course you do. So you hit yes. And they all go away with the exception of this guy right there, which I can delete very quickly, and yes. And what it leaves me with is it leaves me with none, registration, white, and black. Now white and black are two colors that I'm definitely going to use. So I don't want to delete them. I probably could delete them, but I'm not going to delete them because I'm using them and I want them. Okay? But what I want to do is I want to take a look at my logo design, and I want to decide what I'm going to do with color in my logo design. Well, it looks to me like you've pretty much used this color right here. That sort of suggests that color right there, okay? And I'm not sure that's true or not, but oh, before I do this, let me go in here and also point out something to you. The other thing that you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to establish a couple of layers. Now, I created this layer. I'm calling it background layer. And that layer is basically locked. I'm going to unlock it so that you can see what's on that layer. This guy right here is on that layer. You can see that little blue indicator there? That's indicating a selected piece of art, which I just selected this guy right here. I did it again. Watch. See? Now watch when I deselect it. See, it's gone? So when you select the object that's on that layer, what's going to happen is it's going to highlight. So I'm calling this background, and I'm going to leave it alone because that's part of your design. The goal is to not, criticize your overall design. What I'm doing, though, is I'm criticizing your lack of attention to detail in the design, and I'm going to do some things that I think will make your design look a little bit better and give you some ideas as to how to approach this. And again, this is a learning environment. I'm trying to teach you things that are important for you to know. Okay, so now on layer number one, I'm going to hide the layer so you can see what goes on here. So I also have my samples on that layer. See, so I really have my background element, and I have my samples on that background layer. I'm going to lock it again. Now on layer number two, I have my character. Okay, so my character is on layer number two. So that's the way you should set this up. Now I'm going to select layer number two because ultimately I'm going to be working on layer number two. Okay, so and I'm going to color him. Before I do that, what I want to do is I want to go back into my swatches and I want to load a few colors. All right, let me see if I can maybe make this a little bit bigger so I can see all of my colors. You know what? I'm working on colors. I'll slide them over. Okay, so here's my little character, and I think you've already got this color in here. This could be that color. I'm not exactly sure, but it looks like that's what that is. So I got this color here. I got all of these colors here. A lot of really good colors. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to load up 3 or 4 colors that I think I want to use. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little rectangular shape. So I have a target. So there I got this little rectangular shape. I'm going to get my eyedropper tool. And I think I'm going to use this hot red color. So I'm going, and I make sure I have my fill selected. And I'm just going to come over here with my eyedropper tool, and I'm going to sample this. And there is my red. I'm going to come up to my swatches panel, and I'm going to add a new swatch. And it's going to be process color, because remember, this is a CMYK design. So I'm going to leave it set to process color. And I'm just going to hit OK. I'm going to go with the default RGB color. I don't really, because I'm going to have a visual sample here. I don't have to worry about naming it. I could rename it red, you know, if I want, but I'm not going to bother. So I'm going to hit OK. And now I got that red color in there. Now what I think I want to do is I want to go with a yellow color. So I think actually what I want to do, this is still selected. I want to come down here and I want to sample this color right there. So I got this kind of yellow color going here. Once again, come up to my pancake menu and go new swatch. And once again, it's going to give me the RGB numbers, and it's going to be a process color. And I'm going to hit OK. And now I've added that color in there. So I've got 2 colors in there. Now, do I need any more? Let's see. I think I need at least 1 more color. I kind of like this color right here. Now, keep in mind something. You have all these great colors here, and you certainly don't have to do the colors that I'm doing. You can pick any combination of colors that you want. And just so that you understand, you don't have to use every single one of the colors that you have in there. You could use a combination of colors. You could use any combination of colors, in fact, that you want. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time working on this. I'm just basically trying to give you an idea of how you can improve this. So I'm going to pick 3 different colors to work on, and I think I like this color right there. And I'm going to come up to my pancake menu again, and I'm going to go new swatch, and again it's going to give me the default RGB, and it's going to be the process color, and I'm going to hit OK. So now I have exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different colors that I can use to illustrate my little guy here. Okay? So, how do I get the colors into him? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and I'm going to get the regular selection tool first, and I'm going to select him. Now, I'll go back to my layers panel real quick so that you can see that I'm on layer number 2. I'm going to call this my character. Okay, that's my character, and I'm on the character layer, and I've got my character selected. Now what I want to do is I don't need these anymore because I've actually loaded. These are the colors that I'm going to focus on in here. Those are the colors that I'm going to pay attention to when I do my work on my little guy here. So I don't really need to see these too much anymore, but I do need to get some colors into here, and I do need to get rid of all the default colors, and I do need to prepare a couple of layers, the background layer and my character layer. Okay, so these are important steps, and this is not just something that I do for you here. These are steps that I do no matter what kind of artwork I'm working on. I always go in and I always customize my swatches. I always put the swatches in that I'm going to use. Always. It's just a great idea, and it's a great way to organize yourself. And whenever I work in Illustrator, I always take advantage of the layers panel, and I always create layers to put groups of objects on. It's just a very important thing for you to do. Okay, so again, I say this because I'm trying to give you some idea of what the right things are to do. Okay, all right, so I'm done with this, and I'm kind of done with this. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to move him into place. Also, I'm done with this. I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to delete it. I'm going to make sure he's selected. Then I'm going to come over to here. Now, normally what you would probably be seeing is the shape builder tool. I think that's the default tool that you will come to. See, it's in the toolbar. If you go down to the shape builder tool, and if you see that there's a little triangle here, if you click that tool and hold, I'm clicking and holding with my mouse button down, this pops up. And I'm just going to come down, and I'm going to go down to the Live Paint Bucket tool. And I get this, all right? And what it is basically, it's a little bucket, and it has a little arrowhead pointer, and then right above it you can see that there are 3 separate little rectangular or square shapes. The one that's on the one that's in the middle is the shape that has the color selected in it. Okay. Now, if I use my arrow keys, if you look on your keyboard in the lower right corner of your keyboard, there are arrow keys. There's an up arrow key, a down arrow key, a right arrow key, and a left arrow key. If I click on my left arrow key, it cycles through the colors. Do you see how that's cycling through the colors? It cycles through the colors. Okay? Now, once I choose the color that I want, and I'm going to zoom in on this just a little bit more. All right, let me zoom on this a little bit more because it's easier for you to see if I zoom in on it just a bit more. And then get my Live Paint Bucket tool. You'll notice right now, see how I'm sitting over that orange, you'll notice that my color, the color that I've selected is white. So what I will do here now is I will be painting this character with white. And the important thing for making this work is that the thing that you're going to be painting, which is my Wild Bill, is selected. You have to have them selected to do this. So I'm going to come over Wild Bill's face right here, and notice that if you look very carefully at my tool, you can see that my little arrowhead is sitting dead square in the middle of that area of his face. That's important. That tool, that little arrowhead, has to be sitting where you want the color to go. Now watch when I click my button. There, it fills that with that color. Now I'm going to go to the other side of his face, and again, if you look, I'm sitting very carefully, sitting over top of the major area of his face again, and I'm going to click, and now I've added color to that area. There's an area right here which I believe needs to be filled with that color, and I've colored that as well. There's an area here in his ear. I'm going to click that and make that white. And I think there's an area, let me do the area beneath his mustache, and I'm going to do the area by his lips right there. And then I'm going to come over here on the other side of his cheek and do there. And then I'm going to come up to his ear, and I'm going to click in the ear. And then just so that you can see what's going on, I'm going to deselect everything. And as you can see, what I've done is I've essentially painted his face white. So really, that's all there is to doing this. It's very easy to do. And I'm going to do a little bit more of it just to make sure that you completely understand what's going on with this. All right? So again, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to get the Live Paint Bucket tool, and I'm going to click. And actually, as you can see, I don't even have it selected, and it's actually filling even though it's not selected. I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to come over here and click here, and I'm making sure that my arrowhead is sitting in the middle of the area that I want to fill with that color. Also be aware that when I sit right, you're going to see that highlight, that red highlight. When you see that red highlight, that tells you what area is going to fill with the color. And I'm just going to continue going over these little areas, making sure I see that little red highlight, making sure I see it where I want to see it, and I'm going to fill it with that color. Be very careful not to see how that's highlighted like that. That will make that white. You don't want that. You want that little piece white. You see that little circle in the middle there? You want that white, not that. So you're going to click, and when you see that, you get white. I got a little bit area right here. That's going to be white. Again, what you're doing is you're very carefully looking for the little red highlight. And when the red highlight is in the area that you want to color, that's when you click. I see there's 2 pieces I forgot to do right here. That piece and that piece. So now that whole gun is done. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do this gun. Okay? And I got a problem with this area right there. So I have a little bit of a problem with that. For some reason or other, that area has kind of gotten messed in with the other one. See, this is Let me see if I can, let's go to the left. Let's see what happens if I put black in there. What happens? I bet it goes back to black. No, maybe not. Yep, now it goes back to black, see? So I do have a problem with this little area right here. I'm going to have to try to fix that in a minute. Let me fix that in a minute. But let me get this thing back to white, okay? And let me finish painting this with white, and this with white, and this with white. And again, keep in mind what you're doing is you're sitting over the area that you want the color to be filled in. I want all this to be white. And then I'll get down here. Okay, so now I got a problem with this area here. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to zoom in here, and I'm going to have to see if I can paint this in. So what I could do is I could come in here, and I could use my paintbrush tool, and I could set it to be black. Let me see if I can set this to be black. And let me see if I can do this. Yeah, so if I make this thing smaller, whoops, I'm going the wrong way. I'm just going to paint this in black. See, I'm actually just painting it back in black using the paintbrush tool to paint this thing back in black. It's a bit of a pain in the neck to have to do this, but, you know, obviously there's something wrong with this little piece of art. So I'm going to just paint this thing in black as best I can, you know, and since the thing is giving me this problem to begin with, I'm not going to be too hypercritical of you when you do it, because again, I understand that, you know, this is a problem with this little piece of art, and I don't want you to get bogged down in it. So just do your best to paint it back in. You know, see, I'm painting it back in pretty good, and don't worry about it being absolutely perfect. I think what I'll do is I'll just come over here and see whether I can maybe round this slightly, a little bit like that. See, again, as I say, it's a little bit crude looking, but that's all right. I don't mind. You get the general idea. In this particular case, there was a problem. All right, so let's go view, fit artboard and window. All right, and let me zoom in on this thing again. There, that's probably pretty good. Okay, so there's my white areas. Now, there are some other colors that I want to paint as well. I want to change the color of his little gloves. And I chose an orange for that, or a yellow for that, I should say. And that's the yellow right there. So again, what I'm going to do, and this is the interesting thing about this, the process by which you paint these areas doesn't change. You use this tool, and you use that little arrowhead to find where you want to drop the color. The only thing that you have to worry about is using the keys on the arrow keys on your keyboard to cycle through the colors. You see how I'm cycling through the colors? That's what you do. You just go through the colors, and when you get the colors that you want, in my case, I want that bright yellow, okay? Then you can come in and you can start your painting. And now you see how that bright yellow is different than the background yellow? That's the whole goal. It's subtle, but that's what I'm looking for. And just carefully go in and just carefully make sure that you're painting the areas that you want painted. It's very important that you carefully do this. Paint the areas that you want painted. No other areas. So I want that glove. See now that glove is slightly different than the other glove. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to paint in this glove, just like I'm doing here. Okay? It's not hard. It's really actually very easy. It just takes a little bit of setup, and let's take a look and see what we got. So as you can see, there's a slight bit of difference between the actual glove area and the background area. Now, what you might also want to do is you might also want to experiment a little bit with maybe trying some of these. Let me try this. That's on a different layer. That's why it's not doing it. Okay, so I can't do that background layer without selecting that. I can do this area. Maybe I could do this area. There we go. There we go. Okay, so you see what I did? I added a little bit of brighter color right there as well. All right. Now, I'm going to continue the same process, but I'm going to change the color. I'm going to pick another color. So I'm going to come in here And I'm going to try, I think that was the red color that I want. Yeah, I want that red color. So now I'm going to come down here and I'm going to choose the Wild Bill. Okay, and I'm going to very slowly and carefully roll over top of each one of these little letters and look for the highlight. Very important that you look for the highlight before you click. When you get the highlight the way you want it, then you click. Okay, so I'm going to click and click through here, and I'm going to color them with the red color. Keep going. Keep going. And now I have the Wild Bills in a color. So already you can see how nice this looks. Yours is beginning to look that nice as well. And that's because what we're doing is we're taking enough time to actually go in here and, you know, play around with color a little bit and giving this a little bit of color. So I think I want to add this color to that area as well, that red color. So I clicked that, and now I got that color as well. And it looks pretty good so far. Okay, now I think that's all the, actually maybe the end of the little cigarette there, I might make that red as well. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. Okay, now I want to do the hot sauce, but I'm thinking maybe what I'll do with the hot sauce is I'll make the hot sauce that brown color. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the same thing with the hot sauce. I'm going to very carefully click on each one of the letters, very carefully click on the letters. Now, if you want, you can zoom in. You can zoom in. You may find it easier to zoom in. Zoom in and pick your letter and just, you know, paint the letter in with the color like that. You just come in and paint it in like I'm doing. Again, it's very important that you have the proper color in those little squares up there, and that when you color this, you're using that little arrowhead to position your color. All right, now let's do a little bit of work on his hat. I think I want his hat to have that brown color as well. So I think I'm going to have his hat go brown there. I like these little highlights of orange, so I'm going to leave them alone. But what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to actually fool around a little bit with these colors here and give him a little bit of brown in his hair. I don't want to give it all brown, but I want to give a little bit of brown in his hair. Something like that looks pretty good. Maybe I'll go to that one other big one right there. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. And then I'm going to do the same thing with his mustache here. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click on that one, and I maybe click on that one. And now let's go View, Fit Artboard and Window. And I just want you to see, look at the difference. Let me zoom in on this guy. Look at the difference between what you have here, okay, which is very boring. I'm not trying to be insulting, but I mean, when you compare this to this, I mean, this is much better. It really is. There's a lot more really interesting things about this. This just is a better looking logo, okay? So this is really what I wanted you to do. I wanted you to come in and I wanted you to spend enough time to actually make this pop like this, to come in and spend a little bit of time doing this. Now, there's one more thing that I want to show you, one more technique that I want to show you that's a very cool technique, and I want to take a few minutes and I want to show you how to do that technique as well. And that is, if you take a look at the banner at the very bottom here, the Wild Bills banner. The Wild Bills banner is over this orange background, and it just doesn't come across looking very, I don't know, what's the word? It doesn't look like it's very solid. It doesn't look like a real tried and true banner. So what I want to do is I want to maybe do something that's going to make that banner look a lot more realistic and a lot more solid. So what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to go into my Layers panel, and on my background layer, I'm going to create a layer right above it, okay? And I'm going to call this layer Banner, B-A-N-N-E-R. So now I have a background layer, I have this banner layer, and I have the character layer. Now, the background layer is locked. I'm going to also lock the character layer because I am no longer going to be working on the character layer or the background layer. I'm going to be working on the banner layer. So I lock these layers just to show you that I'm definitely going to be working on this layer. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit, like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the paintbrush tool, okay? And I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to paint on that layer. And actually, let's go Control Z. I think actually I don't want the paintbrush tool. I think I want the blob brush tool. That's what I want. I want the blob brush tool. And I think I want to make the blob brush tool bigger. So I'm using, there are fancy bracket keys on your keyboard. If you look at your keyboard, there are these fancy bracket keys. They're right by the P key, okay? They're fancy brackets. And if you use the right-facing fancy bracket, you can make this blob brush tool bigger. And if you use the left-facing one, you can make it smaller. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger because I think that's probably about a good size. It's just on the margin of where I want it to be. I guess maybe a little bit smaller. That's probably good. I also want to set it to be default black and white, and I don't want any stroke on it. I just want it to be a white color. Okay? So now that I have that set to that size and to that white color, oops, I want it to be white fill, I believe. Yeah, I do. Right? Yes, I do. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So did you see what happened? I actually started painting with this thing, and when I paint with this thing, what it does literally is it paints, and it looks like it's painting over everything. But it's not actually painting over everything because I'm on a separate layer, and that layer is beneath the character layer. So because it's on this layer, it's actually painting on that layer, and it will appear behind whatever's on this layer. Watch when I shut this layer. See, there's where my painting goes. There is what it's behind. So this is a really cool way to come in here and paint in something like a white area for your banner. I want to make my banner white. I don't want my banner to be orange. I want it to be a white banner. So this is basically how you go about doing something like this. It's very simple. And what is really easy about this is the artwork that you're painting in, behind, the art is nice and thick. So it's not like you have this very flimsy little fine line. You got this very substantial line that you can hide your painting on, okay? As you can see, I had no trouble, going to the edge of this thing. And I'm just, right now, what I'm kind of doing is I'm kind of just painting the areas that are the biggest problems. I'm kind of painting the edges because that's the hardest part to do. Okay? And it's looking great. I mean, this looks really good. And then I'll just come up here and I'll paint around that edge right there like this. Okay? And as you can see, I haven't had a problem. Look at that. Perfect. And I'm just going to paint this in. Paint it all in. And I will now have a white banner. And I've done one more thing that will make my logo design look really great. And you see, that's the whole point, is that I'm trying to do things that are going to make this logo look really great. And I'm almost done just painting it in. I think that does it. Let's go View. Let's go Fit Artboard and Window. And there he is. Look at that. Okay? So my point is that if you compare it to what you submitted, there is your logo. Okay? And my critique of your logo was that it just doesn't have enough punch. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be insulting, but I mean, a graphic designer doesn't need to have a great deal of skill to do this. Okay, a graphic designer has a substantially greater amount of skill to be able to do this. So this is what I'm looking for. I did show you this in week 1. I'm doing it again in week 2 because I wanted to show you what I would like you to do to fix your logo. You're going to need this logo for the rest of your assignment. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to call this Fix Logo _ Final, F-I-N-A-L, okay? And hit Save, all right? And hit OK. So now what I have basically, I'm going to unlock these layers. Now what I have basically is I have a modified, and I think one little thing I missed there, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's his neck, and that neck has to be white. So let me make that neck white. Let's see if I get white. Yeah, I got to go this way. Up the other way. There we go. I got to get white in there. Yeah, that's right. That's better. You know? Yeah, that's good. So there he is. Let's go file save. All right, so this is done, and it's gonna come back. We're gonna be actually using this in a little bit. So I'm going to leave this out. All right. So let's see, where are we at here? Yeah, so this was your submission. I'm going to close that because we don't need it anymore. I'm going to keep him over here because we will need him. And I just wanted to show you very quickly my hot sauce box. So the problem that I had with your submission was, and again, that let me go back to this for 1 second. This logo fix, in my opinion, was the only problem that I had with your week 1 submission, is that I didn't think you really took advantage of the colors very well. And I was kind of hoping that maybe you would go in and you would take advantage of the colors and come up with something that's a lot nicer looking. If you did as much as I did right here, I'd be extremely happy, because that would show me that you're really making the effort to try to understand some of the tools in this course, which is really what's important. Not just for me to be able to grade you, but I mean, you're here to learn. I mean, you're here to actually use these tools and do things with them, you know. And if I don't see you doing things with these tools, you know, then how am I to assess whether you're really learning anything or not, you know? I mean, it is kind of important. So I really do want you to do this. I want you to go in and I want you to fix this, all right? All right, so that is that hot sauce. So here's what was wrong with your submission. If you take a look at my design has folds, it has the trim, and it has a bleed. Okay, yours does not have a bleed. And if you look at the assignment, let's go to week 2 assignments, because I just want you to see this. I want you to know I'm not making this up. Okay, go to assignments. Let's go to week 2 assignment. And I'll show you what they're asking for, because it's really important that you understand this. All right, so let's go down to what were there. Okay, here we go. So what we're looking for is we're looking for a die line, okay, a cut line, fold lines, and a bleed area. All right, so the die line basically is the black line. The fold line is the gray line, and the bleed line is the red line. So now we go back to my project here, and if you take a look at my layers, I have a bleed layer. Watch when I hide the eyeballs what goes away. You see the red piece go away? There it goes, right there. It's a little slow. So you see the red area went away. That's the bleed. Okay, bring it back. Now the next one is the folds. The folds are the gray lines. I hide that layer, they go away. I bring the layer back, it comes back. The trim, there's the trim line. That's the black line. Now, what the trim line is the trim line indicates where you cut the box out. Okay, that is what is known as a die line, okay, or a trim line. That's basically where the, it's like a cookie cutter, essentially. It's actually a mechanism that they make. They used to make it out of metal. I assume they still make it out of metal, but it punches that box out prior to folding. And what the bleed line does, which is that red line, the bleed line gives you the opportunity to run color all the way out to that bleed line so that it will bleed off the page. If you take a look at my box, which is right next to it here, I have a background color that pretty much bleeds over everything, okay? And you'll see that that bleed line, or that color, bleeds all the way out to that bleed line. Okay, so if you cut this out, that color is going to go to every single one of those edges beautifully. That's the whole point of this. Okay, so it's really important that you understand that this is what yours should look like, because yours doesn't. This is what you have, and this is incorrect. And as a matter of fact, if you take a look, you don't even have layers properly here. I mean, the problem I have with this is you got a die line here. If I hide this, then you're hiding everything. Okay, and you don't have the bleed indicated. Your die line basically looks like it's fine, and then you have these fold lines, these score lines, and they're incorrect. They're not really correct. I mean, this doesn't fold. That's supposed to be part of your die line. So what you need to do really is you need to fix this. That's why we're here tonight. So I'm going, and it's not totally wrong, but there are things that you have to do to fix this. And that's why I'm here. I'm going to walk you through the process of fixing this, all right? That's what I want to do. I want to walk you through the process of fixing this. So again, I got the same situation here. I have a situation where, you know, you have all these colors in here. You're not using these colors. The first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come up here and you're going to want to select all unused, and you're going to want to delete all those colors. Get rid of them, because those are not the colors that you're working with. And you're going to garbage can that and hit yes. Okay, so now you've got some colors in here that you are going to use. Okay, so what you probably are going to do is I'm going to add a couple of colors. I'm going to start off by adding that color right there, that orange color right there. Whoops. Let's go edit, undo. Something seems to be selected. I don't want anything selected. I want to sample. Let me make a little rectangular shape there. There we go. And let me sample that color, that hot red color right there. Okay, so you got that color. I'm going to add that as a new swatch. Okay, process color. Just going to make it CMYK and hit OK. And then I'm going to, because this is one of the colors that we're also going to be using, going to also add that color, add a new swatch, add that orangey color in there, and hit OK. And then I am going to delete this for the time being. Okay, so I got a couple of colors in there. That's the beginning of this thing. And it's very important that, you know, you understand that when you do this, you always want to set up your colors. That's one thing you want to do. And you always want to establish layers. So I'm going to add, when I bring your logo in, I'm not going to address the graphics on here yet, because we have one thing to do, and that is to correct your box. I want to show you how to correct your box. It's not so difficult to do, and it's absolutely essential that you do this if you want to get your grade. And it's not just that you want to get your grade, but you want to do this because you want to learn the process, because if somebody gives you an actual box to produce, if you don't know how to produce the box layout properly, you're going to lose the job. And that's not what I want you to walk out of here with. I want you to walk out of here successful. So, you know, when I see that this is incorrect, and you'll read my comments where I'm telling you it's incorrect, I'm actually going to show you how to fix it, all right? So let me go in and let me go to my layers panel. I have a die line layer. I need 2 more layers. So I'm going to click and create 2 more layers. So I have a die line layer, and I'm going to actually move these layers up. I'll leave the die line layer down towards the bottom. So I have my die line layer right there. This layer here, I'm going to call this layer, I'm going to call it bleed. Okay? And I'm going to call this layer folds. Okay, folds. So now I have 3 layers: die line, bleeds, and folds. All right? So the first thing that you want to do is you want to correct this mess here, because it's a mess. It just is. This isn't working. It doesn't work correct at all. The actual box layout looks like it's properly done, but you have things folding, and this isn't, suddenly this isn't folding, and this edge out here, there's no reason for that to fold. And the reason you're doing that is because you have these boxes, okay? If I can show you, you have these boxes, see? And the boxes, you have a fold on it, and you don't even have the right weight stroke on this. So I'm going to show you how to fix this. I'm going to show you how to make this right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here. I'm going to select the whole thing, okay? And then I'm going to go to the window menu, and I'm going to go to stroke. All right, so bring the stroke out, because we're going to need the stroke anyway shortly. So let me bring the stroke out, and I'm going to deselect dash lines. And then I'm going to change the weight from 1 point to 5 to, sorry, to 0.5, not 5, 0.5. Okay? And now if I deselect this, let's see what we got. We have that, which looks much better. Okay? Now I don't really need, well, I guess I could, no, I don't think I need fill on it. Let me think. Do I? Not really. Not really. I don't think I need fill. I guess I can just leave it like that and make it none. Let me select it. Do I need it? No, I don't need it. There we go. Okay, so now there's none. But I do have a stroke of black. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is I have to create the correct die line. Now, what a die line is supposed to do is a die line is supposed to go around the outer edge of this box, all the way around. All the way around this box, the die line goes. Just around the box. Forget all this other stuff for now. Box, it goes right around the outer edge of this box. And it basically is turned into kind of like a cookie cutter, okay? So to make that a die line, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this whole thing, because you built it right. You got a bunch of shapes here. You built it right. It's basically built right. And it looks like it's actually the correct size and all, okay? But what I want to do is I want to select everything, all right? I'm going to select everything. I'm going to go to the window menu. Here's my stroke. Let me bring my stroke over here. I'm going to go to the window menu, and I'm going to go to Pathfinder. Open my Pathfinder, and you have different shape modes in Pathfinder. The first one is Unite. And what that does is it combines everything together. The one that you have here is minus front. The one that you have here is intersect. The one you have here is exclude. And then you have the divides and all these others. They're all very useful. The one that I'm using, the one that I'm interested in is the very first one right here called the Unite. And what Unite is going to do is it's going to take every single one of these objects and it's going to combine them all together, making one continuous object. All the internal lines are going to disappear completely. And what's going to happen is I'm going to end up with just a nice outline, which is what I'm going to use for my die line. Okay? So now maybe what I'll do before I actually do this, just for the heck of it, let me go into my layers panel and let me make a new layer above the artwork layer, and let me call this backup, B-A-C-K-U-P. And the only reason I'm doing this is so I can show you what the before and after. So I'm going to go edit, copy, okay, and then I'm going to lock that layer, and on the backup layer I'm going to go edit, paste in place, and I'm going to hide that layer. Okay. So now I have that backup there so I can show you. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to select all of these shapes. Marquee to select all these shapes. Oh, I got it locked. Sorry. Unlock it. Go to the die line layer. And I'm going to marquee select all those shapes. So all those shapes now are selected. I'm going to go to my window menu. Where's my Pathfinder? There it is right there. Pathfinder. Okay. And I'm going to use the very first one, which I told you was Unite. Take a look at the little icon. As you can see, the icon kind of looks like two shapes that have merged together. So it tells you essentially what that shape mode is going to do. So if I click on it, look at what it did. Now I'm going to deselect it. Look at that. Okay? So that right there, that's a correct die line. So my point is that this much you did correct, because that looks exactly the way it should look. So that's correct. The only thing that you need to do, what's absolutely essential for you to do, is to create a. You have to create a bleed, and then you have to do the correct folds. So that's why basically we've created these layers here. Okay, and now I'm going to show you. Watch when I bring the backup out. See, that's what you started out with. And your mode converted it to that. This is important for you to understand. This isn't correct. That's correct. And we build from this. This is step one. This is what you did to build the box, and you did that correctly. But you did not turn it into a die line, which is that. That is a die line. And that is the actual outer edge of the box. If you can envision this as being a big sheet of paper, the die line comes down and it pushes this box out. It actually cuts this box out, and then it gets folded. And that's what the fold lines are going to do. Okay? So this is the first step in creating your proper box form. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, and we're going to create I'm going to create my bleed line. So I'm going to go edit, copy, edit, paste in place, and I've pasted in place in the die line layer. Actually, you know what? I might not even have to do this. Let me edit undo this. Let me see if this is. Let me try it just without it. Yeah, I don't think I actually even need to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Object menu. I'm going to go to Path, and I'm going to go to Offset Path. Okay? So let me cancel this so I can explain what I'm doing. All right. So I have my die line layer. What I need to do is I need to create a bleed layer. And I want to create the bleed layer in the easiest way I possibly can. The bleed layer has to be 1/8 of an inch outside the die line layer. 1/8 of an inch. That's a standard, normal measurement that's used for your die line. So it has to be that measurement. So I'm going to actually offset this line by 1/8 of an inch to get my die line. All right, so with this selected, I'm going to go to the Object menu again. I'm going to go to Path, and I'm going to go to Offset Path. Now when I get into the Offset Path dialog box, what I want to do is I want to come in here, and I want to set the offset to be 0.125. 125 IN. Now, if I hit preview, I want to show you something. If I hit preview, do you see what it did? It offset that line by 1/8 of an inch. You see it? I'm going to hit preview off, and there it goes away. So I'm going to hit preview on, and there is my 0.125 offset, which is exactly what I need for my bleed. So I'm going to hit OK. And now I have this. It's selected. You can see it's still selected. And you can see there's that little square here on the die line layer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to drag that up onto the bleed layer. And now it's on the bleed layer. And I'm going to come over to my stroke, and I'm going to double click, and I'm going to make it red, because usually when you indicate a bleed, you indicate it using red. So I'm going to select red, hit OK, and now when I deselect it, that line should be red. So there you have your die line, and there you have your bleed line. Okay? Absolutely essential that you understand this, what I'm doing, and that you absolutely do this. You absolutely need to do this. This is essential. Like I said, you really aren't far off. Your box is correct, but you don't have your die line, your bleed line, and your fold. So now you've seen how I made my die line by combining all the boxes. You've seen how I made my bleed by offsetting my die line, just by offsetting it by 0.125 inch. All right. And now on my folds, I'm going to actually lock the die line layer, and I'm going to lock the bleed layer, because these two are done. See, this is done, and that's done. All right, so both of them are done. Now I'm going to go to my folds. We're going to go on to my folds. So let's go back for a second to this, and let's see what it tells you for your folds. Let's see here, die line, bleed areas. Where does it tell you that? It tells you it somewhere. Oh, here we go. Fold lines. The 0.5 stroke weight, a dash with 4.2 gaps. Let me make a note of that. I just want to write it down. Give me a second. Okay, so it's the fold lines are 0.5 with a 4-point dash and a 2-point gap. Okay, very important that you read the instructions, and that you also look at the bleed area. See where it says 0.125 beyond the trim edge? So you see I did that. The cut lines, 0.5 stroke weight. Die lines, a closed vector path. So I have all of those things. I did all those things. And so now we're going to move on, and we're going to create our folds. All right. So I'm going to make sure I'm on the fold layer, and I could probably zoom in on this quite a bit. It's probably easier if I do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my line tool, and I'm going to come over here, And I'm going to hold the shift key down, and I'm just going to bring a line over to there. And I'll start with this point right there. So there is my very first fold. Now this is going to come out red. I don't want it to be red. I want it to be kind of like a gray. So again, I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to pick a midterm gray, like about, maybe even lighter, like about there. Now watch when I deselect it. See how that's gray? Actually could be a little bit lighter. You need this to be a little bit on the lighter side. Yeah, so bring it up about like that. That's good. You want to be able to see it. There you go. See, so you can see that very well. Now this is also a 0.5. All right. So that's important that it's a 0.5 and that it's a gray. So I'm going to go to the stroke panel. Let's see if I have my stroke panel out right there. There it is. I'm going to engage the dashed line, and the instructions were that you are to give it a 4-point, not a 12-point, a 4-point dash, okay? And then the gap is going to be a 2-point. And then if you click over here, you'll see that we've got a 4-point dash, 2-point gap. Now watch when I deselect this. There you go, look at that. And if I go to my layers panel, it's on the fold layer. So I have a fold layer with a fold. I have a bleed layer that has my bleed on it. And I have a die line layer that has my die line layer. So now all I got to do is make sure I'm on the fold layer, okay? And all I got to do is get my line tool, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to take my time, hold the shift key down, and I'm just going to drag and create my lines. There's my fold for there. I'm going to come over here, hold the shift key down, and I'm going to bring it over to here. There's my fold for there. Now here's the thing that I want you to know. This is great, because now that I have the stroke engaged and I have the dash line engaged, every time I draw any kind of a line, even if I come in here and even if I draw a rectangle, can you see how that rectangle has that dash line on it? So this dash line will stay engaged automatically until I deselect this, and then it'll go away. So I'm in good shape to just kind of go around and put all my lines in, all right? So I'm going to come along the bottom here, and I'm going to get my line tool, and I'm going to carefully come over to that point right there. Again, hold the shift key down because I want to constrain it and make a straight line. Bring it over to there, okay? And then I'll come over to this point and hold my shift key and bring it over to there, okay? And then I'm going to come over to here, and I'm going to hold the shift key down, and I'm going to drag it over to there. And now if I go to the View menu, Fit Artboard and Window, I'm almost done. There's one thing I have to do, and that is I have to put a fold right there. So again, I'm going to get my line segment tool, and I'm going to hold the shift key down, and I'm just going to drag a line right down to there. Okay? And now if I come back in here with my layers, all right, there are my folds, watch. There are my folds. There's my bleed. And there's my die line. Okay? So again, very important that you understand this. You absolutely have got to do this. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I'm not done. I'm actually not done. Now that I've done this, I have a choice. I could continue going like this. All right? I could hold the shift key down, and I could continue going like this, and I could draw these folds as well. Or I could go Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste in Place, and I could hold the shift key down, and I could use the right arrow to duplicate the line and just bring it over to its next position like that, okay? Or what's easier for me, I personally think it's just as easy to hold the shift key down and come down here and bring myself my guide, my fold lines. So there are all of my fold lines. There are all of my fold lines, okay? Very important that you submit that. Let me go over to here, and not what you have over here, which again, I don't have the original out in front of me. Let me do this. Let me go File, Save As. Let me call this James Gallagher. I'm going to call this James Gallagher Bill. ILL, and hit Save. Okay, and now let me go to, let me open up James Gallagher again. File, Open. Open. And let's see, where's 3? Here we go. Let me see. James Gallagher. That it? Assignment 2. Is it? Let's see. Ignore. Yeah. Yeah. See, look at the difference between mine. Look at mine. Okay. Look at mine, James, and look at yours. Oh, jeez. Hold on. Where is it? Look at yours. Let me zoom in on it. Okay. See, it's not correct. It's just not correct. The weights, the line weights are not correct. You have no die line. All these shapes that you have in here need to be gone. You need to be doing a die, which is basically what I did here. Here's my die. All right. Again, as I say, take a look at my layers. All right. I have a die line. There it is. I have a bleed line. There it is. And I have my folds. So when you submit this project in Illustrator, I should be able to go up into my layers, and your layers, and I should be able to hide and show all those 3 elements, and I should be seeing all those 3 elements. This is a correct box layout. This is correctly done. All right. So again, this is what you have to do. It's absolutely essential that you understand this, that you do this, because again, you're gonna sooner or later somebody's gonna ask you to make a box, and you know, if you do something like what you did here, let's go back to yours. If you do something like this, you know, they're just gonna say it's not correct. You know, so I mean, the bottom line is you're here to learn how to make the box properly. So I mean, that's what I'm trying to show you how to do, make it proper. So that's why I'm spending as much time as I am with this, so that you understand what my critique was all about, and you'll hopefully be able to come in and do this. This is really not that difficult to do. There are only a few steps in doing it. So really, it's important that you take those steps, take the time and do that. All right? Yeah, so that's basically it. I don't think I need this anymore. No. Okay, so now that we have this, what we can start doing is we can start dealing with the next issue that you have, and that is your graphics for your box. So there are a number of problems right off the bat. One of them is that you have color that runs all the way over this area here, which is known as the glue tab. And you can't have color run all over the glue tab. You just can't. It's something that you can't do. If you have glue go over the glue tab, more than likely the printing ink that they use is going to basically fight, because it's oil-based. It has some sense of oil in it. It's going to fight with that glue, and the box will come undone. So you need that to be unprinted. So that's the first problem. The second problem is your box wasn't built properly. You don't have the proper layout for your box to begin with. And this guy right here, this logo, you have him sitting dead square over top of 2 panels. You can't do that. I mean, this is going to fold here. You're putting a fold right down the middle of the guy's face. I mean, you just can't do that. So, I mean, there's a lot about this that just doesn't work. So now that we've done this, now that I've created this, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to try to recreate what you did and make it somewhat right. All right. So the first thing that I would do is, let's go back to my layers. But to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this layer from backup. I'm going to call this background. Background. Okay, so background. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this layer and I'm going to hide the other layers, all right? And the background layer, I'm going to select it, okay? I'm going to select that layer, and I'm going to go into my Pathfinder right there, and I'm going to combine it, okay? So now I have that combined on that layer. So what I want to do is I want to add the colors the way you have them there, because you can do this. The way you have this with the black tabs, I don't know why you'd want to do it, because you can't really see that black. I mean, but I'm going to do it the way you did it because it's not technically wrong, okay? But I'm going to show you the right way to do it. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to start off by taking the rectangle tool, and I'm going to come here, right here. First of all, let me go to the view menu, and let me go to rulers, and let me go show rulers, bring my rulers out. Because what I want to do is I want to bring out a couple of guides. I want to bring a guide out to here, I think, right there, right there. And I want to bring a guide out to right about there. There we go. Okay, so I have a couple of guides out there. And I'm going to go to the view menu and go guides, lock guides. Oh, they are locked already. They're locked. Okay, good. All right, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to add this reddish color, because that's the first color that you're working with. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to take the rectangle tool, and I'm going to come over to right about here. Notice that I'm going, let me bring a guide out to show you. There is my fold for my glue strip, okay? Now, if I go up to my layers, let me show you what, I'm going to bring my bleed back. There's my bleed. So I'm showing my bleed. Now, it's important that I show the bleed, because this, in order to work, I have to show you how this is supposed to work. All right, so I need to have the bleeds to do that. So what I want to do is I want to come to about this point right there. And I'm going to click hold, and I'm going to drag a rectangular shape all the way out to my bleed and all the way down to here. Okay? And then I'm going to come over with my eyedropper tool, and I'm going to sample that. And there you have it. There is that color. Okay, now let me explain to you what's different about mine that's different about yours. Well, you have yours set as black. I'm not going to make mine black. I'm going to actually let that go red. I think black's a bad idea there. These areas can be black, and I'll show you how to do that. So anyway, now I have this, which goes over slightly onto the glue flap. But let me explain to you why I'm doing that. The reason I'm letting it go over onto the glue flap that little bit like that, which is almost about the same width as a bleed. The reason I'm doing that is so that when the box folds up, that color will actually go into the glue flap and hide, and you'll have a clean color edge right up to the glue flap. Now, it's important that you also understand, I don't extend this all the way over to the bleed, because I want to leave this glue flap with no color on it, because they're going to apply glue to this. And the glue, as I just said to you, will interact with the printer's ink. So when I do this, I put the color only slightly beyond the actual fold onto the glue flap, leaving as much of it as possible free and clear, so to speak. All right? All right, so now what I'm going to do is, you want the rest of this to be black? Okay, so I'll give you the rest of it black. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to get my rectangle tool, and I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to drag, and I'm going to make the whole thing black, just like this, right out to the bleeds, just like that. And I'm going to make it black. So I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to bring it down and make it black for you, and then hit OK. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Object, Arrange, Send to Back. There we go. So now what I have, just so that you understand, now what I have is I have an area of black for all of these tabs, and I got the area of red in here. Okay, now how do I get them into the shape of this box? Well, that's actually very easy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select this. Okay, first of all, let me hide my bleed for a second, okay? And I think actually, is it showing there? It is. It's right there. I'm going to take this, and that is my what I'm going to use to make these colors fit the shape of the box. This is a mask. I'm going to use this line as a mask. It's actually just a duplicate of the die line. All right, that's all it is. It's just a duplicate. But if I select this and if I select the red, let me make sure that I got this thing. Let me bring this to the front, actually. Let me make sure it is. Let's go Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. Okay, hopefully I brought it to front. Now I'm going to select that and the black and the red. So I've selected all three of these. I selected that little die line there. I've selected the black. I've selected the red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Object menu, and I'm going to go down to where it says Clipping Mask, Make. And see what it did. All right, I'm going to go to the View menu, and let me go Guides, and let me hide the guides. So you see what it did? It actually copied or it actually clipped the shapes. Let me bring back my bleed, and you can see what's going on here. No, I don't want to be the die line. There we go. Okay, so there's the die line. So now what you're looking at, okay, is you're looking at a correctly done box with the color. All right. So in my layers, just so that you understand, I have my folds here. There are my folds. Okay, you can still see the folds. I also have my bleed, but you're not seeing the bleed because I clipped the bleed. All right. So I'm going to hide the bleed for a minute. But I have my die line here. All right. I have my die line here. There it is. You can see the die line, and you're only seeing it in a couple of little spots. And then I have my background art. There's my background art. If I hide my background art, I can then bring my bleed out again, and I bring my folds out, and there is my box. So what I am trying to get you to understand is, in order to submit this thing to me properly, you should have layers that have folds on it right there. There's my folds. One that has a bleed on it. Okay. One that has the die line on it. That's correct. All those three are correct. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to properly create my background like this, the way I did it here, which was to use a clipping mask to do it. I essentially took the die line shape, all right, is what I did. Is I took that die line shape, duplicated it, placed it in front of two shapes, which were the black shape and the red shape, selected all three of them, went to the Object menu, Clipping Mask, Make. All right, and it's not coming up now because I don't have anything selected, but that's how I did it. And I have that, okay? So I'm going to hide the bleed line. I'm going to hide the fold lines for now. Or actually, I'll leave the fold lines on. So there's my background. This is what yours should look like. This artwork layer won't be there because this artwork layer is your work. I'm just showing you the difference, okay? So anyway, that is what you need to do to get to where you're ready to go. Now, this week, what we're going to do is I am going to continue working on this assignment, okay, which is basically to build out the graphics of your box. Now, for week 2, you didn't have to do the graphics completely, okay? You had to do the graphics, but you did not have to do them 100% complete. So I'm going to do some of it tonight, and then the rest of it tomorrow night, all right? And then I want to go off and I want to show you a couple of interesting things, all right? So let's get back to this. So here's your logo. This logo is incorrect, totally incorrect. First of all, the colors are no good. The positioning is no good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my logo, the one that I did here. This is the logo I'm going to use. I'm going to marquee select this thing. I'm going to go Object, Group. I'm going to go Edit, Copy. And then I'm going to come into my box, your box. I'm going to go Edit, Paste. Just going to paste it in there, okay? There he is. Now, he's got to go on that second panel right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to free transform this guy. Let me see if I can, yeah, I don't know whether I want to do that. I think I want to scale him. Let's scale him. Scale, strokes, and effects. Yeah, there we go. And I'm going to scale him down. Let's bring him down to like 50%. Let's make it 40 actually. 40, and let's hit preview and see. Boy, that's darn close. I'd say 30. 30. Let's try that. 30. I'm going to hit OK. I may have to adjust it. That's very close. And I'm just going to walk him over right about like that. And he actually is very close. You know, he's actually very close. What I may end up doing, let me bring him up. Bring him up to right about there. Okay, right there. And let me take a look at him and see. It's not bad. I mean, I could probably go. Let me come up here and let me scale him to maybe make it. Let me make it 103. Let's make it 105. 105. That's good. Okay. There. Okay. So we got 105. Did I actually accidentally copy it? No, I didn't. Control Z. There we go. So there. That's probably pretty good. Okay. So this is the front. I tried to explain this to you. You can't. This is a side panel. This is a front panel. You have your artwork sitting right in the middle of a side and a front panel. It's going to fold here. So it means it's going to fold right down the middle of his face. How's anybody really going to take a look and see that logo like that? They're not gonna. It's not going to work. So it can't possibly go there. It has to go like this. And the reason that I say it's got to go here is because I'm calling this the front panel. This is the panel that I believe should be the front panel. This is the back panel. This is the top panel. This is the bottom panel. Okay? So I just want to orient you so that you know what's going on. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build the rest of the box because this is week 3. So this guy would go here. Now, if you want, you could take this guy and you could go edit, copy again, and edit, paste. All right? And you could take him and move him up onto the top, okay, like that. And then what you could do is use your rotate tool to rotate him around like that, okay? And let's see where he is. I think he's got to come down just a bit like that. And no, he's actually pretty good. Okay, so what I'm saying is that you could have this logo on the top of the box. Now, the reason I have him facing this direction is because I want him to face to the front of the box. And when this folds down, it'll fold down to here, which is the front of the box. So he, in the end, when he folds down, is going to be facing the same direction that this guy is facing and not in the other direction. So that's why it's important that he goes in this direction, and that's the top of the box. Okay? And then this is the front of the box. Now, what you did here is fine. I'm going to take this, I'm going to hold the shift key down and the shift key down, and I'm going to go edit, copy, and edit, paste in place. And then I'm just going to walk this thing over to here like this, and I'm going to place it in here. What happened? Let's go edit, cut. Let's see, let's go edit, paste in front, and it still didn't come up. What happened here? All right, you know what? Let me just see if I can just steal them. Maybe I can just do that. There we go. Oh, all right, so let's go edit, cut. And let me see. I'll tell you what. Actually, you know what? I got a better idea. My background layer, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create another layer. And this layer is going to be called graphics. I almost forgot this. H-I-C-S. So right above my background layer, I'm creating another layer called graphics. And I'm going to go edit, paste onto the graphic layer. There we go. Now I got it. And I'm going to move it over to where you had it, because I think that we can go with that. That will work. Okay, so we have a graphics layer. Now this guy here, I'm going to click on this as well. Let me see if I can get this as well. The background layer, let me get this thing. There we go. I am going to drag that up to the graphics layer, and I'm going to click on him, and I'm going to drag him up to the graphics layer. Now watch what happens here. Let me see if I can get this over here. Okay, so this thing here has got to go over a little bit. I didn't quite get it in the position. Let me bring it over a little bit, just like that. That's probably pretty good. That's okay. We're good right there. Yeah, that'll work. Maybe even make this down just a bit more. That's good. There we go. Okay, so this I have no problem with. This needs to be there. Now here's the thing. There's your background layer. Okay, there's your background. And then these are your graphics. So what you want to do now is I'm going to lock the background layer. I'm also going to lock the fold layer. I've hidden the bleed layer because I'm not really needing the bleed layer right now. So what I need to do now is I need to fill out the rest of this package, this box. I have to fill out the graphics on the rest of this box. Actually, this thing here, if I'm not mistaken, this needs to be adjusted slightly, and these guys probably should come up a bit, center it better. That's probably a little bit better. That's probably going to do it. That'll do it, I guess. There we go. Okay. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to fill out the rest of this box. We have to build the rest of this box. If you take a look at my box, let's go over and take a look at my box. So this is my box. This is what I did when I built my box. You can see what I did here. I'm going to zoom in on a couple of these panels so that you can see what I did. I actually didn't do the logo. I did something a little bit different. I went to Wild Bill's hot sauce, and actually I made a mistake on this one because this is the front of the box. It shouldn't have been. This should have been the front over here, and this should have been the back over here. So mine is incorrect, okay? So bad on me. But anyway, I just want to show you some of the things that go on here. So Wild Bill's Gourmet Hot Sauce, spicy, sweet, and highly addictive. So we got this information. There's a sheet of information right here. Wild Bill's Gourmet Hot Sauce. I'm going to enable editing. Okay, so the product flavor, we don't really, well, actually, jalapeno, serrano, I don't know. I guess we could put that in. Gourmet jalapeno sauce. Barcode, got to put the barcode in. Nutritional facts, there is nutritional facts. I think they're down a little bit here. Yeah, let's see here. So this is, okay, there's the weight, manufactured by, and then here's the manufacturer, additional information, spicy, it's good, but not, spicy is good, but it's not enough. So you got that information, that's got to go on there. Ingredients got to go on there. So all these things, ultimately, we're going to put on to this box. So I'm going to keep this open so that we can go in. This is basically my box. And you can see I get the same thing. I got a bleed layer, I got a fold layer, I got a trim layer, I got a graphics layer, and I got a background layer. So you can see I did the same basic thing, okay? And that's why I'm showing you this, because again, we're going to do that on yours. So we go back into the graphics on yours, and what we're going to start doing now is we're going to start building out the rest of this box. So one of the things that I thought I might do with this is, let's come in here and let's zoom in on this logo. Or better yet, you know what? Let's go to the fixed logo. Yeah, let's do this. Let me come in here and let me select this. Let me get the group selection tool, and I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select the Wild Bills. Wild Bills. I'm going to make sure I get it all, because I can see that there's a few pieces of it I'm not getting. Selecting all of it. And then the Gourmet Hot Sauce. This is going to be a pain. Let me see if I can do it this way. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I didn't quite get it. Let's try it again. There we go. I got it. Well, I didn't get it. Try it again. Try it there. All of that. Got it. Okay, and now let's go to, let's deselect that. Okay, and let's go to Wild, that, and Bills, and that, and that, and that. And let's go Edit Copy. Okay, and now let's go to your design, and let's go Edit, Paste. Okay, and now let's see, we're going to paste it on, it's on the graphics layer, that's good. And what we're going to do is, let me take a look at this and see what's going on with this. Let me move it down here, and let's see what we got. It looks like I missed some stuff. Yeah, I did. So let's go Edit, Undo, Move, and let's go Edit, Undo, Paste. Let me go back to this logo. And yeah, I missed one little thing right there, and that's that little loop right there. Ah! Okay, so I got to do this again. This is not the easiest thing to do, but I have to do this because I want to get this copy. So I'm going to come in here with the group selection tool, and I'm going to select that gourmet stuff at the bottom, and I'm going to deselect that background shape. Then I'm going to carefully come in here and click on the Wild Bill. I got to make sure I get all the elements. There's some areas that I'm looking at that's not selecting. I'm making sure everything's selecting. And now I think I got it. There, I think I got all of it. All right, now I'm going to go edit copy. And let's go into this. And let's go edit paste. There we go. Oh, you see, so I got that other piece anyway. So I'm going to actually drag it off to the side. Okay, let me drag it off to the side. And let me deselect it. And let me take this thing and let me get rid of that because I don't want that. And let's select this thing first, the Wild Bills. And let's go to our colors. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pump that up, make that yellow. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Except I don't think I want the black line. So I'm going to remove the stroke. Okay, there we go. And actually, I got a couple of other things here that are giving me trouble. So this little area here, that's supposed to be, let me see. Let's go. I wonder if that's going to work. Object, compound path make. There we go. Okay, got it. All right, so now I've got this, and I'm good. Now this gourmet, I don't know whether what I'm going to do with this. I'm thinking maybe I'll try white with that. I'm just kind of playing a little bit. Now the gourmet hot sauce, I think the gourmet hot sauce I'm going to make red. Let's see what we got here. Let's, actually, I may have a problem. Let's see what this is doing. That gourmet, let's see what's going on with that. So what's this? That and this. Let's go object, compound path make. Boom. Okay. And let's see what it does. Select it. And let me get that deselected and that deselected. Let's try red with that. Let's try, actually, orange. Oh, you know what? How about brown? Yeah, let's see what we're going to do with that. Yeah, but I want it to be fill. There we go. Is it right? I think so. No, I got one little area right here. See that? So that and this is going to be object, compound path make. There you go. So now I have my Wild Bill gourmet hot sauce. Let's go to the view menu, hit artboard and window. And now I have my Wild Bill's hot sauce. So what I've done now is I've created an alternate way of presenting this, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to size this thing and, again, come in here with the scale tool. And this is going to probably be, I don't know, let's try 80%. Let's see what that looks like. Let's make it 75. 75. Okay, and hit OK. There we go. Perfect. And now I don't know whether I want that. And actually, now that I see this, let's come in here. Yeah, see that brown doesn't work very well, does it? So I'm going to select that and go select all of it. Actually, let me just get all of that selected like that. And let me deselect that and that. And let's make that a different color. You know what? Let me try black. I don't know whether black's going to work. Let me try black. The stroke. And then the fill. Let's make the fill bright yellow. There we go. Let's see what that looks like. It's okay, but it's giving me trouble. So let's see here. Let me go here, and let me get this one here, and let me make that color right there. Let's see it now. I don't have the strokes on it yet. Let me get that stroke on it yet. Let's see if I can get the strokes on it. Oh, come on. Let me get the stroke on it, and the stroke will be black. Let's see if that works. Stroke. Let's see what we got. There we go. Except that the stroke is way too big, so I'm going to select it again. Select it again. And let's go to the stroke menu. And let's set the stroke to be like 0.25. Make it tiny. There we go. There we go. That's it. I think I missed one right there. That one right there I missed. So what we're going to do with that is a stroke 0.25. See if that did it. Nope, it didn't. Let me get in there and see what's going on with this. Yeah, this thing's a pain in the butt. There we go. Get that. What is all that? Let's go to the stroke, 0.25. There we go. All right, so now we're in business. Let's go view. Hit our put window. Okay, so now I got wild bills, and I'm going to object group. All right. Now, if I want, I'm going to take this out of the way for a moment, because what I can do with this is I can take this and I can go edit, copy, edit, paste in place, and then I can bring it up here and I can rotate that like this, and there's another option for me. Okay, instead of having that logo, I think I kind of like that. I'm going to use this instead of the logo. So there's what I'm going to put on the top. I'm going to delete that. Okay, all right, so that is my top. There is my front. There is one of my sides. I still have a side to go, and I have a back. Okay, so, and I also have to finish my front because I have some information that's got to go on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the back first. All right, let me see here. So I've done with my logo. Let me close that. Okay, save it. Yes, let me close this one because I don't need to see this one anymore. And close it. All right, and save changes. No. Yeah, and now we've just got yours out here. Okay, so close that. So as you can see, let's just quickly, there's my graphic layer. Okay, all my graphics are going to go on here. There's my background. All right. So basically, I'm working on the graphics layer. I got all the rest of this stuff locked. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue putting my information in. Go back to the Wild Bill's information. Now, the Wild Bill's gourmet hot sauce, the mandatory jalapeno habanero or serrano. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to get my type and I'm going to click and I'm going to center align it and I'm going to make this, let's make it S-E-R, whoops, oh, I'm in the wrong place. Let me come over here. All right. S-E-R-R-A-N-O. I hope I spelled that right. Let's see, Serrano. Serrano, S-E-R-R-A-N-O, Serrano, yeah. Okay, so now I don't really have a font. I don't really have any fonts for this. So I'm just going to come up here, open up the character panel, and I'm going to find something real quickly. All right, let's see if I can find something real quickly here. Let's come in and let's find something a little bit decorative. Let's say we're going to go with, I'm almost tempted to go with Algerian, not quite. Let me go a little bit further. See what we got. Sample. Do we have anything that looks appropriate for this? Nothing's coming up that I really like. This is always the problem. You're not prepared. I'm not prepared with a type, so how about Goudy Stout? Yeah, that might work. Goudy Stout. There we go. And let's see, is it regular and bold? Just regular. Let's see what we got. There we go. Yeah, that'll work. That'll be okay. Serrano. That's good. So let's bring it over here. Okay, and let's make it the character size. Let's make it, what size we want to make this thing? Come on. Oh, geez. 12, 13, 14, 15. Let's see what that looks like. It's probably a little bit big. Let's come in here and let's see what kind of color we're going to go with. Let's see, maybe go with the yellow. I don't really want to stroke that, although that looks cool. I got an idea, though. Let me do this. Let me get rid of this. Okay, and let me go into, I'll show you how to put a stroke around this thing. This is another really interesting thing. Go to the window menu and go to the appearance panel. Okay, so now, right now, I have this word Serrano selected. And what I want to do is I want to put a fill and a stroke on this. And I want to stroke it, but I want to stroke it correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add a new stroke. Okay, so now I've added a new stroke. The fill is going to be black. Okay, the stroke is going to be, stroke, oh God. Window. Where's the appearance panel? Here we go. Appearance panel. The stroke is going to be that yellow. There we go. Okay. So, but what I want to do is see what's happening. If you look at this really carefully, you can see what's happening is it's really plugging. It's all plugging up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the fill and I'm going to drag the fill up in front of the stroke. And when I do that, I get this, which is beautiful. Looks really nice. So what I have now is I have this Serrano with a fill of black and a 1-point stroke of yellow. Now, I don't know whether one's going to be good or not, so I'm going to actually try 2. That looks actually pretty good as well. So maybe I'll just go with the 2-point, and we'll let it go at that. Okay? So I might want to do one other thing to this, and that is go to the Object menu and go to Envelope Distort and Make with Warp. And I get that, which really looks pretty cool, except it's a little too extreme. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the slider over to about halfway, maybe 25. And that looks much better. Hit OK. And then all I have to do is center it a little bit better and bring it down. Whoops. I'm arrowing it over and down just a little bit. And let's go to the View menu, and let's go Fit Artboard and Window. And there, let's go View, Fit Artboard and Window. And there we have it. Let's take a look. That looks pretty good that way. Now, the other thing is I could take this thing, hold the Shift key down, and I could bring this thing up above. Let me bring it up like that and see how that looks, because I think that might look good too. It does. See, that looks really good like that. I like it. That looks great. So now what I've done, okay, is product flavor. I've gotten a product flavor. Now what I can do with this is I can copy it, edit, copy, edit, paste in place. And then what I can do is I can bring it over here, up on here, and I can rotate it as well. Okay, hold the Shift key down, rotate it, and then I can position it and position it right above Wild Bill's. Maybe I move this Wild Bill, maybe I move the Wild Bill part down as well a little bit, like that, so it's sitting a little bit better on the panel. Maybe right about to there is good. Yeah, that's great. See, that looks really nice. That looks really cool. So now I have this and I have this. All right. I have to put a barcode on there. I have a barcode. I'm going to go File, Open. And I'm going to find my barcode. There's my nutritional facts. Where's my barcode? Label, well, the label, where is it? I know I had a barcode here. Final, where is it? Bill Sweeney, nutritional facts. I could have sworn I had a barcode. This is great. So you know what? Let me just do this. Let me hit, well, actually, let me go to desktop. Let me go to packaging. Let's go to week 3. Barcode. Are you there? Let's see, where are you? Barcode, barcode, barcode. Come on, come on, come on. I know I got you. Where are you? Barcode. Somewhere. Save, assignment. Barcode. There we go. Barcode. There's my barcode. Okay, so I mean, I'm just going to use this barcode, all right? Let's see what I got here. I got a barcode, but I don't have a background on my barcode. So if I were to take this barcode, and if I were to go Edit, Copy, all right, and if I were to go into my assignment and go Edit, Paste, I get that barcode. Now, the barcode is almost good, except that, and I should go Object Group just to make sure. There we go, okay. See the problem with the barcode? Here's the problem with the barcode. The problem with the barcode is there's no background on the barcode, and you should never have a barcode against a color like that, because a barcode reader is not going to be able to read black and red. It's going to see it all black and jumbled up. So whenever you have a barcode, what you want to do is you want to create a white mortise area around it. So I'm going to come like this, and I'm going to create a white mortise area around it. I'm going to go Edit, Cut. Then I'm going to get my barcode, Edit, Paste in back. Okay? And now I have a white. Actually, that's not white. Let me make it white. I don't know why it's not white. I don't want to stroke. There we go. That is correct. So now I have my barcode, and there we go. That's probably pretty good. So I'm going to select both of these things, and I'm going to scale them down to 75. Actually, that looks like pretty good. Hit OK. All right, now let's go to the View menu, Fit Artboard and Window. Now there's my barcode. I could put my barcode on the side here. That's one possibility. Or I could put my barcode on the back. That's another possibility. Or I could put my barcode on the bottom. That's another possibility. Any one of those three places are fine. I think what I'm going to do, though, is I think I'm going to put my barcode here. Okay? Put my barcode right on the back. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do with my back, with my one side yet. What I could do is I could select this and this and this, and I could go Edit Copy, and then Edit Paste in Place, and then I could kind of walk it over like this. All right? Bring it over onto that panel, and I could do something like this, where I just rotate this around like that. Hold the Shift key down, and I could just rotate that and have that on the other side as well. That you could do, okay? I don't have a problem with you doing that. I'm going to do that now just for the heck of it. I probably am going to continue working on this tomorrow night because I'm not done with it. So let me start off by going File, Save. All right. And let's see what else we got here. So I got my barcode. So these two things are done. So I can actually come in here and I can actually make them kind of gray so that you can see we've already addressed those things. So now what we have here is nutritional facts. So there's nutritional facts. So let's see if I can find the nutritional facts on this. Let me go to File, Open, and let's see if I can find nutritional facts. Required elements. Well, that's not what I'm looking for. Let me see. Cancel. I wonder if I have it. Let me go File, Open. Let's go into my desktop. Let's go into week 3 and see if I have it in there. Nutritional. There we go. There we go. Okay, so there's the nutritional facts. All right, so here's our nutritional facts. So let me go View, Fit Artboard and Window. There's my nutritional facts. So I'm going to select this, or let's just go Edit Copy. Okay, and let me bring it in. Let me bring it into here. There we go. And Edit Paste. Okay, so I have the nutritional facts. They're huge. So what I'm going to do with the nutritional facts is I'm going to scale the nutritional facts down because truly they don't have to be that big. The nutritional facts can be much smaller. Just have to have them in there. I'm going to bring the nutritional facts down to about like that. There's my nutritional facts. And I'm going to make sure that they're basically sitting on the back of my panel. All right. Now, this is not the final position because I still have some other stuff to put on here on the front and on the back panel, and I have to go through all of this stuff. So I have my nutritional facts done. All right. So I can actually gray that out. Now the ingredients, here are the ingredients. So I'm actually going to copy the ingredients. All right. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to come over here and Control V, all right, and Control Z. Actually, let me make this very simple text. Let me just make this thing. Let's make this. Let's go up to Myriad Pro and make it regular, and let's make it 9 point. There. Let's try that, and let's go Control V. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up so I can basically break the line. Let me move it over here a little bit. All right, let me get up here and take a look at this. So I want to get rid of that bullet first of all. There's a bullet in there. I don't need that bullet. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay, now ingredients: tomato, peppers. Let's come over here and break it like that. Enter. There we go. And then maybe calcium chloride. I don't know. Let's try it there. See how that breaks. Enter. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. It's still a little bit big. So what I'm going to do with this is, let me zoom in on it. Let me zoom in on this thing. Okay. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to select the word mandatory's got to go. I don't need the mandatory. So I'm going to remove the mandatory. I'm going to leave the ingredients. I'm going to put a colon. Okay. And I'm going to make that bold. So make this bold. All right. Make the whole thing bold if I can. Oh, jeez. It's being a real pain. There we go. All right. So let's make that bold. Come on. And make it bold. There we go. There we go. And the ingredients, let's make the ingredients bold as well. Let's make the ingredients bold as well. All right, make this thing bold. All right, and let's make the ingredients itself a little bit bigger. Let's make that 10. There we go. Okay, now I'm just going to select this thing and use the scale tool. Hold down the shift key, and I'm going to make this thing smaller. This doesn't have to be very big. That's the whole point. It doesn't have to be very big. It just has to be there. That's probably a good size. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do, view, fit artboard and window, and I'm going to take the ingredients, and I'm going to bring the ingredients down right about there. Okay, and let's zoom in on it. Let's take a look. Okay, so there's my ingredients. I could possibly make it a little bit bigger. Could make it a little tiny bit bigger. I'm holding the shift and the option key to make it just a tiny bit bigger right there, like that is good. And then center it. Okay, you want everything to be nicely centered, and that's probably pretty good. And then I can either come in here and I can try making it white, and white don't look too bad. Yellow, yeah, yellow looks better. There's your ingredients. Okay, so now one more of my mandatory element is there. Okay, now I need the net weight and manufactured by. So the net weight, I'm going to take the net weight, I'm going to select it, copy it. All right, I'm going to go to the front cover and paste it. Edit, paste. There we go. And I'm going to clean it up by getting rid of the bullet. Come on. You know what? Control Z. This is no good. Let's just type it in. Net and E-T-W-E-I-G-H-T. And what is the net weight, colon? The net weight is 5 fluid ounces. Let me actually move it over so I can see it. There we go. Net weight, 5. F-L-O-Z, period, and then 14, what? 14 ml, 14 ml, there, boom. Okay, so there we have it. And now I can bring that over onto the front panel. This will go on the front panel, probably somewhere right about there. And again, you know, I would probably stick with the yellow because the yellow seems to work pretty nice. Let's go to the view menu, fit artboard and window. Okay. And as you can see, I'm starting to come together. The whole thing's starting to come together. So what else is there? All right, so now we have that. Manufactured by. Now I'm going to copy this. Manufactured by. And let's copy this. And let's come in here and let's get my type tool. Let me hit the type tool. And let's go Control V. There we go. Now let me go in and zoom in on this guy. All right, so there it is. Savory Heat, Blue Willow, Tennessee. Let me bring it down onto the back. All right, so let's come down here and let's bring it down all the way to the bottom. There we go. All right, there we go. And we got that. And let's adjust the size of this. First of all, let's make it yellow, because I like the idea of the yellow. I think the yellow is a working and again, this is kind of like I'm just doing this on the fly, but I'm trying to show you the elements that's got to go in here. So the character, let's go into the character panel, and let's make this 9 point instead of 10. That's better. And then let's make this 9/9. That's much better. And then what I want to do is I want to come in here, the first line, and I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to go up, and I'm going to manufactured, M-A-N-U-F-A-C-T-U-R-E-D, manufactured by, and then colon, okay? And then I guess what I'll do here with this is, again, this doesn't have to be very big. So what I'm going to probably do is come in here. This is set to 9. Let's make it 8. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. 8. There we go. And now what I can do with this is, let's see, I could probably just take this guy and maybe move it up a little tiny bit and hold down this and that and move it up a little bit. There we go. And then just basically move this down a touch like that. All right. And then if let me click on this, and let me click on this. There we go. Object group. Okay, now if I go to the view menu, fit artboard and window, what I can do here is I can click on this, hold down the shift key, click on this, hold down the shift key and click on that, shift, click that, go to the align panel and align them all to the middle. See, and they just slightly align. So again, and maybe what I want to do is take this element, and maybe I want to move this element down. So I'm trying to give myself space up at the top because I have some more stuff to go on there. But you can see that this is beginning to come together. The box is beginning to come together. So let's see what's left here. We got a bunch of things to put on here. So we have some additional information. All right. So we have, this stuff right here. All right. I would probably put, for great recipes, visit www.savoryheat.com/recipes. I think I might actually put that on the front. I would go copy, and I would probably put that on the front, and Control V. All right. And let's see, let's zoom in on this and see what we got. For great recipes, visit, and then what I think I would do with this is I would probably put a colon in, and then I would break the line, and what I would do is I'd probably increase the size of for great recipes. I'd probably make that character, let's make it, what size, 10? Yeah, and then this I'd probably make 9. Let's go up and make that 9, 8, 9. There we go. And I might make that line italic. Make it italic. Yeah, I think that looks a lot better. And then again, what I would do, because I like the look overall, I would make this whole thing, if I could get the whole thing selected, I'd make the whole thing yellow, because that seems to work nice. Yeah. And then what I would do is I'd just take this thing, let me bring it down, let me go view, fit artboard and window, and I would just walk this thing down to here, like right about there is good. And then maybe center it. I could do the same thing with this, where I just basically select all these elements, okay, and all of these elements, and I could go to my align panel, and I could align them all to the center. See, and they all align ever so slightly to the center. And now it's beginning to come together, okay? So I do have a little bit more to work out. I don't know whether I want to put something in here. I would have to put some more stuff up here. I have some more copy. Let's go to the Wild Bill copy. See, I have this additional information. The additional information is probably going to go on the back. So what I think I'm going to do is, for this, I'm going to delete this. Okay. And I'm going to remove the word mandatory. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is, I'm not even going to copy the additional information. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in here. I think there's an extra line spacing there. Yeah, that's what I want. So I want to come in here, and I want to get that copy right there, and I want to copy it. Okay, now what I want to do is, let's come in here, And let me zoom in, all right? And let me create a frame, a text frame, which would probably be about that big right there. That's probably pretty good. Okay, and let me get my type tool, type area tool, and click. And there we go. And now I'm going to go Control V, and I'm going to paste it in. All right. So it appears as though my frame isn't big enough. You can see that little overset there. Now, how I can fix that is I can come over here and I can get my direct selection tool, and I can click on that anchor point, hold the shift key down, and click on that anchor point. I've got those two anchor points selected, and I can start bringing this up. And as you see, as I bring that box up, can you see the text coming back, coming in? See that? And I think that's it. I got it. That's all of it. Vegetables and eggs. There it is. Okay? Yeah. And now what I can do with this is I can select this whole thing, and I can come in here, and I can make that yellow as well, because I do like the overall yellow appearance of this. There's my text. Now, what I probably want to do is I probably want to come in here, and I probably want to play around. This, first of all, let's see what size it is. Let me go to the window menu, and let me go to type, and let me go to character. Okay, let me bring the character panel over here. So I got 9. This is 9-point type, which is actually pretty good. So what I probably would do is I'd probably make that 10-point, and maybe even make it 11-point. Yeah, and spicy is good. Let me hit on Shift Enter, but it's not good enough. There we go. And now let me see if I can go. Let me select this guy here, and let's see here. What I want to do with this is let's see. I want to be here. It's not doing it. Darn it. All right, so you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to cut it. Edit, cut. I'm not, see, the problem is I'm not, there we go. That'll work. And let's go edit, paste. Yeah, edit, undo, paste. Let me deselect the frame first. Now let's go edit, paste. There we go. Okay, so now I got two separate elements. So now I can take this and move it down. There we go. So what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to separate these two. All right, so there. And now let me get that up to the top. Let me bring that up to the top right there. I just wanted to get this thing to be a little bit separate. Yeah, so I can maybe bold this and make it bigger. So let's go myriad, bold italic, semi-bold italic. There we go. And let's make it 12. And let's make it 9, 10, 11, 12. There we go. That's much better. And now I can actually align all of this stuff. Let's go to the view menu, to the artboard and window. And I got this, 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 and I got that. And I go to my align panel right there. Oh, nope. There, right there. And align them. There we go. And now I can literally come in here and I can start placing things a little bit better. So I'm going to move that down. I need to, make the spacing better. Move this down a little bit like that. I'm actually trying to space everything out much better. Bring this down like this. This can come way down, and I'll have plenty of room. There we go. That's good. Click on that. Bring that down like this. This is working out just fine. And there, bring that down like that. And now I have all of my information on the back panel. I'm going to save this file, save, okay? And I think I have all the required information on this. I'm going to save, I'm going to close this. Again, this is going to be saved. Let me call this file save as, let me save this as, no, it's actually fine. James Gallagher Bill's fine, hit save. There we go. So let's see, I'm going to go into cancel. We're going to go to week desktop. Let's go to week. Make sure I save it right and find it. Week 3. There we go. And hit save. And hit OK. OK. All right. So what I need to do is I need to see if there's something I could put there. I don't know exactly what that is. I might think about it, and I may come up with something tomorrow. At the worst case scenario, I don't come up with something there, but the bottom line, if you take a look at what we did tonight, I've basically shown you how to approach putting a side panel on. I've even just repeated what you had on this side panel over here. I don't have a problem with you doing that. I set a little bit of type for the word Serrano, one of the required elements. I created this little graphic by just taking the type and resizing it, recoloring it, placing it there. I've come in here and I've utilized this copy right here for great recipes. Visit www.savoryheat/recipes.com. That was a required element. The net weight, that's a required element. That's there. And then most of the required elements, the other required elements, appear on the back. Okay, and that is the spicy is good, but it's not enough. The copy right here, and the nutritional information, the nutritional facts, and the ingredients, the barcode, and who the product is manufactured by. So we go to the view menu, hit artboard and window, and that is file save. That is basically what your final package should look like. So what I'm going to do tonight, or what I'm going to do tomorrow night, is I'm going to come in here. I'm going to maybe finish this up, see if there's one little graphic I can put on the front. If there is, there is. If there isn't, there isn't. And then I'm going to do a label. I'll show you the labels. And then I'm going to show you how to make a bottle and show you how to make a box out of this, which is what you're going to be doing next week. So that's it for tonight. I hope I helped you. If you have any questions, get in touch with me.